Hello, this is Joe Peters with MomFit with Joe Peters. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network and Her Network on Singo TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download the Singo TV app on the respective app stores, iOS and Android devices. While you are downloading, make sure that you leave a comment and rate the app. The app is free. Singo TV is also available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and Roku sticks in all smart TVs since 2016. Welcome. I am super excited because I promise you today is going to be an epic show. I have the pleasure and the honor to be here with the amazing Venus Morris Griffin. She is a dynamic real estate agent and leader in her industry, graduated from the University of South Carolina. She's an author, a mother of seven, even if you don't believe it, a beautiful grandma, two, motivational speaker. She's also a survivor, and her story of survival is one of enduring and conquering unspeakable betrayal. Oh, with that, I want to talk a lot more about that, but I want to start with Venus because I have the feeling that she's going to pack you with inspiration and motivation and wisdom. And one of the things that I love about Venus and her statement is that her message is about you can handle anything that is going into your life. So, Venus, thank you so much for being here with us today. And why you don't start by sharing a little bit about you and your story and how do you start inspiring mamas and females around the world?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. First of all, I am not that great in dynamics, so please, I'm just a normal person, and I've got a story that is impactful for other women, and I share it because I feel like as mothers, as women, sometimes we become dependent on men and think that we can't be all we need to be complete as a woman by ourselves. And I share my story of adversity and trauma because I want to let other women know that's not the case and that you can not only get through anything, you can achieve anything despite your circumstances. But again, I am no one special. I am I'm a mom who's committed to her children. I have 7 kids. They are 7, 12, 15. I have to think, I'm sorry, 20, 22, 24, and 26. And I am a graduate of the University of South Carolina and met my college sweetheart and married him at 21 years old. And we were married 20 years. And I got a call in the middle of the night, and it was from a prostitute who had been blackmailing him. And I met with her, and over the next 6 months, the unimaginable happened. I went from being a stay-at-home mom of 6 children, and some other things came out that my husband, the prostitution is not why he went to prison, but some other things came out that my husband had done, and he was tried and convicted and sentenced to 45 years in prison. So I was a mom of 6 children at the time, and I was nursing my baby. He was 1. So I had a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 7, 9, 11, and 15-year-old. Somewhere I get ages kind of mixed up because I have so many kids. But from 1-year-old to 15-year-old, I became a single mom. I lived in a 2-bedroom house. I was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I had no idea how I was going to meet their basic emotional or financial needs. And I just got my real estate license, and I have a wonderful family, but I share my family is not of means. They are, I say this with respect. A lot of them, most of them live in trailers. And when you don't have money, you can't help people that need financial help. and they were hours away. So I started my journey as a single mom of 6 kids, newly with my real estate license, and had to figure out real quick how to step up to the plate, um, and that's where my journey starts. So
Yeah, wow. And that is why I think that is so impactful what you are doing, because that is something that not a lot of moms think about, especially you being the mom of a baby that was still nursing. That is something that I don't think any of us even have as a remote option in our mind. And
yeah,
then that the reality is things happen, one phone call and then your life changed. And that is why I love your message about when life beats you down as a mom, you have to keep going. So one of the things that I want to go deeper into that story, Venice, is how was that journey of you going through all that, but knowing that you had to keep going because you have six beautiful babies depending on you now completely. So, how was that? And I want to also invite you to tell our mamas, mom to bees, and new moms that are maybe facing something like that, because there is probably, and you can tell me this with experience, I don't think that will be a lot more scary things that us with a baby or being pregnant, realizing that the person that we were supposed to raise our kids with, the person that we're supposed to be our support, then for any reason is not there anymore. So why we don't talk a little bit about that and how you can give them
yeah.
some hopes and hope on if any of them are dealing with something similar.
So the first thing about my story that is a little different from most is, and people didn't know this until my husband went to prison, but my husband could not have children. So our 6 children were conceived from a donor. And when you're faced with infertility, I think you look at motherhood a little different than if you just, you get pregnant and you have them. And so it took us 8 inseminations to conceive our first one, and 4 for our second one, 2 for our third one. And then I got pregnant on the first try. My body kind of figured it out with the rest of the children. But so despite the tragedy that had happened to our family, what I didn't want is my children to ever be a victim. And the first thing that I did when my husband went to prison was I remember coming home from the courthouse that day, and I sat all 6 children, we all sat in the living room, and we were kind of in a circle. And I told them, I said, the first thing that we're going to do as a family, I said, we're going to forgive your dad, because that's where the healing starts. That's you can't be complete. You can't have this dynamic family if you've got hostility in your heart. And so, no matter what happens to you, I think that forgiveness is the first step into, um, making yourself happy and whole, and making your children persevere through trauma. And so I'll never forget, I was very transparent, honest with my kids. I just said, I have no idea how we're going to get through this, but I'm your mother, and I love you, and I'm committed to you. And my work ethic is unparalleled. I will work myself to the bones to make sure you're okay. And God was a big part of our journey. If I do my part, I know He is not going to let us down. And my oldest son was 15 at the time, and he just graduated dental school. He's this amazing person. And he just looked at me and he said, Mom, you do what you need to do. I will help raise my siblings, and we will figure this out together. And if we lose everything we have, which we were in a 2-bedroom at the time, so we didn't have a whole lot to lose, he says, that's okay. We're going to figure it out, and we have each other. And that's really all we need. And so, again, I didn't know what to do. I had just got my real estate license, and but what I didn't want to do is my children to ever feel like money was more important than my love for them or commitment to them. And I knew taking care of myself was important. So the first thing I did was I decided every morning that I would get up and I ran 5 miles. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning. And people have this notion that, oh my God, she loves it. Well, I hated working out, but I was severely depressed. I did not want to get out of bed. I felt like I wanted to die. But I knew if I gave up, that my kids would pick up my cross and carry it for the rest of their lives. And so I didn't know what to do, but I just my son said, "Mom, if you research every day the field that you want to succeed in, research shows in 3 years you'll be an expert." So I literally got up every morning, ran 5 miles because I didn't want to take antidepressants if I could, you know, beat the depression naturally. And after I would run, I would get all 6 children up, make them breakfast, and we went to mass. I'm Catholic, so we went to mass that first year. My husband was in prison, Monday through Friday before school at 7 a.m. And the kids didn't like that either. But again, I knew that I needed help. That I could not do this alone. And no one is a superhero where everyone gets somewhere with the help of their faith or loved ones, and I didn't have people to help me, so I leaned on my faith heavily. And I just remember I'd go to mass, and say out of the 6 days we went every week, I might get something one day out of it, and I couldn't stand it the other 5 days. But that one day I got enough strength and wisdom to give me hope to continue on, because it was so scary. And I didn't know anyone in the community really. I was a stay-at-home mom. I came from a poor family, and I'll never forget, my divorce attorney said to me, Venus, everybody's getting out of this real estate business. You need to get a real job. In case you don't know it, you don't get child support from prison. And I remember looking at him and saying, you know what, I'm okay getting a real job, but first I want to try, because you don't know what I've come from. And I had a very, very difficult childhood. My mother, she's a great person, but she struggled with addiction and alcoholism all of her life, and still does, if she's honest with herself. But my earliest memory was watching her fingernails, and if her fingernails turned blue, I'd have to call 911, because that meant she wasn't breathing. And then navigating through just a very, very difficult childhood with an abusive stepfather, and being on my own at 15, living from friend to friend, to working to 2 jobs through college. And I knew that I had developed grit, and I didn't understand why my childhood was so difficult. But now, in retrospect, when I look backwards, God was preparing me for what was to come, is what I think. Because I had such a difficult time as a child, it prepared me for the work ethic that I would need to be a single mom of 6 children. And so I just rose to the occasion, and focused on what I could do every day to be better. And I didn't know what to do, but I knew the first thing started with self-care. I tell my kids, just like the airplane, you got to put the mask on yourself first before you can help everybody around. And that starts as a mom. I think we sometimes think we're supposed to be a martyr. We have all these children, we're supposed to do everything for them. Well, that's kind of backwards, because if we don't take care of ourselves, then we're really no good to them. So I was always very careful to prioritize, and I still prioritize. I still get up at 5:30 every morning, go work out, because I know that the way I treat myself is a reflection of who I am, and it will affect how other people treat me in the business world and on a personal level, because who better to believe than the person that you're looking at as to what you stand for. So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing so much, and thank you for being so open and vulnerable to share the entire story, because one of the things that moms face, new moms and my audience face, is that normally we only see the end of the picture, right? We
Yeah,
see Venus happy with her beautiful kids and grandkids, being super successful. And unfortunately, a lot of moms start putting pressure on them because they are comparing, like I always say, they compare their own whole
yeah.
iceberg with the top of the iceberg of everybody else. So thank you for allowing the audience, over 300,000 people that are watching us, to actually know that, yeah, you can have that end, but there is 99% of the time there is a journey to take you there. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I love about what you said, because I know that self-care is one of your pillars, a lot of things I love. The first one is that you said, I hate getting up and working out.
I
But then
hate it.
I love it, because then that is another taboo that we had, that is
Life is
that
hard, and I tell my kids this all the time. Jesus died on the cross. And why do we think our life is supposed to be so easy? I think if you embrace that, it's okay that you're gonna have peaks and valleys, and life is going to be hard. And it's the hardness is just a temporary state. You're going to push through it. You're going to get through it. If you embrace that, it's okay that it's hard, and that there's nothing wrong with you because it's hard. As long as you're doing your best, even if you feel like you're failing, you're really not failing, because what you're doing is you're figuring out the right path for you. And I think when you're gentle on yourself, and say, okay, this sucks. Right now, for example, people still think I have it all figured out. I remarried about a year and a half after my husband went to prison, to a very great man, and we just got divorced. And we had a seventh child together. And because I was the primary breadwinner and made most of the income, I had to drain my retirement account to pay him. And I could look at that as, that's so not fair. And I'm so angry at him and I'm so bitter. But what I look at is, this is a good man. We have a child together. I have the money in my account to give him, and I'm going to preserve and have a great friendship with this man that I loved and still love, and raise our child together. So you can look at the glass as half full or half empty, because occasionally, as the market transitions, and the housing market is predicted to have another crash, and I look at my account, I'm like, okay, I've worked all this time and I have no money in my retirement account. I could let my mind drift to a bad place. And but again, what I choose to do is focus on the good stuff that I got out of my second marriage, and that I was able to do that. And focus on what God has given me, not what I have lost, because you're going to peaks and valleys your whole life. And I just remind myself, when I get in that little valley, that, I'm coming up to another peak. And it's all in your mindset, and what you say to yourself, the tape that you say to yourself. But it's still not easy. I was signing a contract last night. I got home from work at 6:30, fixed everyone dinner. My kids, it's fall break, so they all have friends over. I got 15 people. I sneak out at 8:30 after I get them settled, and I go to someone's house to sign a contract, and I get home at 10 o'clock. Well, that's not really ideal, but I'm like, okay, the market's slow. This is a opportunity for me. I'm so grateful that I have this business, and it didn't take away from my family to do it. So it's, as a mom, you have to just be flexible and take every moment as they come. And I get lots of accolades for, I've had 500 million in production since I've started my real estate career, but nothing in this world, and this is given a lot of lip service, and I don't think people really believe it when they say it, nothing is more difficult than being a mother, because it is 24/7. Your heart is constantly ripped out of you. And, sometimes you can do nothing but sit back and watch your children suffer, and be that rock for them, and let them know that your love is unconditional. And it's difficult. And, when you're in the working world, you get a paycheck. I make a lot of money by most people's standard. And that's validating that I'm working hard and I'm getting a reward. But when you're a mom, you might not get that paycheck for 20 years. And it's hard sometimes when you're starting out to see that 20 years from now, no amount of money or success in the business world will compare to what you have and what you've harvested as a mother and the values that you've given your children. One of the best moments of my entire life was my son, when he was elected president of his dental class. He gave the opening speech, and my husband had just went to prison. I had 6 kids. I was working 70 hours a week. I'm sure I was failing all of them at different levels, but they could all see I was giving 110%. He stood up and he thanked the administration. He thanked all the parents. There were, several hundred people in there. In the last sentence or few sentences in his speech, he says, "Mom, would you stand up?" And so everybody in that room started crying because they knew my story and they knew what our family had been through. And he said, "Mom, when the whole world threw the towel in on our family, everyone was quick to judge us. I don't know of another mother in the world that could pick up with 6 children, be at every sporting event, every school event, and provide for us." He says, "You taught me to never give up. You taught me to keep pursuing my dreams, and I will be Dr. John Morris because of the example that you have set for me." And it's just life-changing. That is, I could not be a billionaire and feel more love and respect and just gratitude of getting that validation that, yes, it was hard being a single mom of 6 kids. Yes, it's humiliating seeing my husband go to prison. And yes, we suffered greatly for someone's actions, but we got through it. We're strong. And we have this incredible family, and you got 2 choices with everything you go through in life. And I still send my ex-husband, who is still in prison. He's been there 11 years now. Every year, a couple times a year, Christmas and whenever, I'll send him a 6-8 page letter, and I'll have pictures of all the children. I tell them updates on what they're doing, who they're dating, school. And, my friends are like, "Venus, are you crazy? Like, do you not remember what this guy did?" And I said, "You know what? I just treat him like I would want someone to have the grace to treat me if I had really screwed my life up. And I treat him like Jesus would treat somebody, just with compassion and love, because nobody wakes up and says, I want to screw my entire life up and leave my 6 children and wife behind to walk this walk alone." And it just, it changes your family. It changes you when you have that grace. It doesn't mean, when I say you forgive people, that doesn't, listen, people love me or they hate me, because I won't let anybody walk on me. I will stand my ground. And if you back me in the corner, you got a fight on your hands. But so it doesn't mean when someone's abusing you, you definitely, you get out of that situation, but you have to forgive your abuser in order to heal, so you can be the best version of yourself. And it's still hard, and but it's beautiful at the same time. And last night I'm looking around as I'm sneaking out the door, to go write this contract at their house at 9:00. I'm just looking around. My daughter's got 5 friends over. My son's got 2 friends over. Hannah Lou's sitting there just thinking she's somebody doing TikToks with my older daughter. And, it's just a beautiful place to be. And we kind of semi-adopted this other little boy that since July has been living with us as well. And that's a whole different dynamic of hard and how to figure all that out. But, life is beautiful. You have to look for the beauty and embrace the hardness of it. Embrace the hardness. And as a mom, know that you're going to get that paycheck. It's going to be amazing. And, it's going to be tough along the walk, but, you're going to get through it. My 19-year-old daughter got pregnant in college. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, was devastated for her because I'm like, oh, I know how hard it is to be a single mom, and you want the world for your children. And my son says to me, Mom, she's not on drugs, she doesn't have cancer, and she just got caught. Most of the college kids have been sexual. She got caught. She wants to take responsibility for these babies and be a mom, and we're going to figure this out just like we did everything else as a family. And that's what we did. My 19-year-old came home. After she finished her semester, she told me she was pregnant at 20 weeks. I had to go to the school, and somebody told me and took a pregnancy test because I was nervous that she might have an abortion out of fear of me not embracing it, which I would never be that person. So 20 weeks, I find out she's pregnant. And by the way, there's two, there's not one. So she comes home in July and has the babies on her vacation. Her water broke and goes back to school in August. She finishes her accounting degree in 4 years. And now she's got a job. And it's funny how the circle of life comes. She just got her second accounting job, and she called me. She's like, Mom, there's this great position coming up at this company called Cytex. I'm like, Julia, like, that's where I bought all of your sperm from. I said, well, when you interview, you tell them not only are you a single mom and like a boss lady, you tell them that you have an advantage because you used to swim in the tank back in the back room. so she got the job, and it's just a beautiful thing. She's got, her daughters are 5 years old. It's really hard on her, because she sees how difficult it is to be a single mom. And but she's doing it, and she's doing it beautifully. And there's no
I
right or
love,
wrong way.
yeah, I love that because I several things that I want to point out of your beautiful thing. The first one from what we were talking before is I love how you find a way to find the support, because that is one of the things that some moms struggle is like, oh, but I don't have friends, but I don't have family close by. And then open the possibilities to things like rely in church, rely on some of those other communities that are there, that if you don't have family and friends together, that doesn't mean that you have to do it alone, that doesn't mean that you have to struggle. So thank you for sharing that, and give these mamas that maybe are having a challenging time. I don't know how many of my moms are saying like, hey, I am by myself in an abusive situation, but I am in the other side of the country from my family and friends. And that nugget of golden nugget that you said is so powerful, because you are never alone. And then
Yeah,
it's okay to ask for help and say, okay, my ideal help will be my family and friends. Yeah, that will be our ideal help for all of us. But if that is not available, how else I can have that help? How else I can have that support that I am desperate to have? And the other beautiful thing that I want to point out with you is how you are actually thinking and showing everybody that, remind everybody that when we are in the middle of the storm, we don't see very clearly. It's almost like if you are in the middle of the storm, you don't see. But something that you said made me think about the concept of the dots connect backwards always. And it's sometimes we are in the middle of something really, really hard, really, really strong, and we are in our knees, breaking hard, thinking, what is going on? And I love how you said, my childhood trauma was actually a gift to prepare me to have the grit and the strength to actually fight for my family and my children. And that is a good reminder on those dark moments, because it's very easy to start going into that spiral down of hopeless, and
yeah,
finding that hope and finding that trust that everything that we are doing is preparing us for what is coming. I was actually working with a client yesterday, and she was like, this is really hard. And then she was almost like frustrated about this being really hard. And I just look at her and I said like, can you tell me one thing that was new for you in your entire life that was not hard at the beginning?
yeah,
And then she just started thinking, and we're like, even your kids when they were walking, like, do you remember how it was for your babies when they
yeah,
start walking? how
Yeah.
exhausting was. And I think that that is the message that you are giving is not because it's hard means that it's going to be hard forever, and
Yeah.
not because it's hard that means that you should give up. Is how you find that strength within yourself. So I want to ask you a question there for moms to be and moms. What are some maybe two or three of your tips on finding the space for self-care and deal with that society pressure of mama guilt of putting their oxygen mask first, like you were saying before?
So I think for me, it is having, you want to have that balance of being a good mom, yet taking care of yourself. And sometimes people say to me, I just can't do it all. But the reality is you can, and I'm proof of it. But what you have to do is you have to develop discipline in your life. And that is what's going to give you the balance because, I work out 5 mornings a week still. I lift weights because I'm 50 now and I want to, try to, take care of myself. So I have that mommy guilt if I go work out at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when my kids are home playing and I'm not there. Well, that's not the right time for me to do that because, you know, I want to be with them. I want to hear about their day. I want to see who they're with. I want to go to their sporting events. So for me to get that mommy time and to take care of myself, that means I have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And so I get up at 5 and I get to the gym between 5:30 and 6, and I work out for an hour to an hour and a half. And I come home and I'm like dancing around in the bathroom because I've got those endorphins going. And it just changes your day. And I make myself go to bed, because sleep, I know a lot of people say you don't sleep if you want to be, well, I think you need at least 7 hours sleep. So I make myself try to be in bed by 10 o'clock. And so 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm sleeping. And then 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, that's my time every day. And it will change who you are. And it is still hard. This morning, actually, I have to be honest, I didn't get up at 5 because my kids are on fall break and I was up till midnight with everyone. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be like every single day. I mean, I'll work out Saturday instead of, since I didn't work out today or whatever. But, committing to making yourself a priority and knowing like when that alarm goes off and you don't want to get out of the bed, just making yourself do it. And once you get there, it's like, when I leave there, I feel like I'm got a cape on my back. I can do anything because you've done the right thing. You've gotten through the hard part, and it's just making yourself a priority, but you got to discipline yourself.
And I want to ask you a question because I have my own answer, and I'm 99% sure that you're going to answer the same, but I'm going to ask you is those days that you did not want to get up with the alarm and you did it. How many of those times when you were in the gym working out, you were like, oh, I regret that I woke up. I should just literally get out of bed, stay in bed.
Hardly ever. Hardly ever. I will tell you, on a really bad day, I will be in the gym and my kids have probably heard me swear a handful of times in their life. In my mind, I'll be like, I hate this. I'll say bad things. But on a rare occasion, I will still hate it when I'm in the gym. But 99% of the time, I am so grateful that I made the decision, and your whole day changes. So, yeah.
And I know I ask you that because with my mom, I have like this 5 minute rule that I invite them to do. I say, hey, even if you don't want to do it, even if you don't want to go for a walk, even if you want to go for the run, even if you don't want to go to the gym or do Zumba, do it for 5 minutes. And if
Yeah.
after 5 minutes you still are like, oh, I hate this, I want to stop, then you may stop. But 99% of the time, after 5 minutes, what you were saying, the endorphins, everything in your bodies, you're like, no, I'm not going to stop. This is good. This is not as bad as I thought.
Well, this is kind of bad, and I probably shouldn't say this on the show because I probably shouldn't, but I have no filter sometimes. I have a girlfriend, and she's married. She's happily married, but she's like, Venus, like, I don't even want to have sex because it's just like I'm worn out. I'm a mom. Da, da. And I told her, I said, you know what? even bad sex is good sex once you get into it. If you if you will just be open to that with your husband, like the connection that you develop, it's not about the act, it's about the intimacy, the connecting. Once you do it, just like working out, you're like so glad you did on the other end of it. So no matter what it is, sometimes just, your mindset might not be right to start off with, but if you commit, hey, this is really important. This is something that's going to better my relationship, better myself. I'm going to do it. It changes you, and it changes your relationships. So I don't know about
And
yours.
I think that because I love how you are tweaking the concept of discipline to be something that fuel us and where we want to go, because sometimes we feel like discipline is this hard rigid thing. Oh, discipline
Yeah,
is not for me. Sometimes a little rebel is like, I'm a rebel, I don't want to have routines and things. But more and more, I love what you were saying about you can have it all,
yeah,
and you need to know that you need to pay a price for. So yeah, I can have it all, and I probably will not stay at 5 p.m. in the gym. So the price that I'm paying is I'm waking
yeah.
up earlier than everybody else to do that. And how you are keep saying about the discipline, because I remember one of the teachers that I learned says that practice is the mother of mastery, and the only way that you practice is if you are disciplined to show
Hmm.
up and practice and keep doing it. So I love how you are making that twist to actually almost, I feel that we need to become friends with the
Right.
concept of being disciplined. So instead of something that, oh, I need to be disciplined, is like, yes, discipline is going to help me to go to where I want to go. It's going to help me open doors that are not open right now.
Well, even eating, I always eat dessert when I go out to dinner. I don't really drink alcohol because I just don't like it, but you can do whatever you want to. Like 80% of the time, I'm trying to eat grilled chicken, grilled salmon. But then, I like fried chicken wings. And so I eat what I want to eat. I don't deny myself. It's just having the discipline to 80% of the time to making really good choices. And then 20% of the time you can still have it all. It's just nothing overdone is good. You too much of anything is in my opinion just not a good not good. I like getting a massage, but I wouldn't want one every day 4 hours. So just having that discipline to know you can still do the stuff that you kind of feel guilty for, but just you can have a cheat day and not exercise, but just try to have 80 to 90% of the time where you're consciously trying to make the best decision to do the right thing.
And here I want to ask your experience and your wisdom, because one of the things that I found very common is that people start at 20% that don't have clear limits on, oh, I need to go back to the 80 or I need to stop. So that 20% easily can become 30%, 40%, 50%. So for example, they're working out, I'm going to work 5 days and 2 days I'm going to rest. Then something happened, and then two no workout days become three, and three become five, and
Yeah.
then 2 weeks pass, and then you are not been doing anything for 2 weeks. So what is your approach, how you make sure that you don't let those 20% times become bigger and bigger in your life, in your time?
I think everyone knows when they're not doing the right thing. I don't believe that it becomes, and you feel like crap. And that's how you know. When you feel like crap, you're not doing the right thing. Your mood will be different. Your outlook will be different. Everything is more doom and gloom versus, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful life. And last night I was sitting on my, I did an amazing pool and outdoor kitchen area. We've got like a little living room out there. And I just sat up back there and I thought, wow, like 11 years ago, I was dirt poor. I had nothing. And I look around, I paid my house off, everything I own, I have zero debt. And I look around and I'm like, it has been so hard. And, I've been lots of sweat and tears and crying. But look, the just being determined to not quit. Look at what I've achieved, and it doesn't. It's just every day doing one right thing, making one. It's not the big choices that make you successful. It's all of the little choices that make you successful. And if you make all the little steps right, the big things will happen. A lot of people think, it's the big thing that's going to determine their happiness, going on this great vacation. Well, no, that's all great, but it's the little things that shape you into who you are, that bring you true success. It's, I tell my kids, it's going to church every day. It's studying for that test. It's the little things that you think are insignificant that really will change you for the better or for the worse. It's, I tell my kids, you become the 5 people you hang out with. You choose carefully who you surround yourself with. As a mom, the best advice I can give to other moms, and I tell my daughter who and my daughters who even aren't, is, you know, guard your mind, guard your mouth. Don't be that person. Women want to tear other women down to make themselves feel better about themselves. Don't ever be that person. You always celebrate other people's success, and you will rise as they rise. You don't have to try to rise and pull them down so you can rise. You surround yourself. My friends, I don't have a lot of friends. My friends are all better than me because I want to be like them. And so, I've got friends that are super spiritual. I've got friends that are they are all better than me. There's somebody that I want to become. I don't want to hang out with the people that I want to be like. So surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, and don't listen. As I've gotten, 100,000 plus people followed me on my social media, comments are 99.9% amazing. And then I'll get this awful comment, this hater that says, I don't even know I've never met. And you have to know that as you rise to the top, people aren't going to be comfortable with that. They're not going to like that. And you need to be okay with people not liking you. You need to not worry yourself with what people say about you. As long as you're doing your best, knowing that you're going to fail, and that's okay. But as long as you're doing your best, you can't do any better, then you're going to find a peace within yourself that nobody can take from you. So.
I love that, Vanessa. And we're getting close to the end of the show, and I still want to talk so much with you. You are such an inspiration, and I love how you are allowing possibility. Because one of the things that we start the show with is being a mom is, I agree with you, the hardest thing. Like, I also work in Fortune 100 companies, and nothing compares to my experience as a mom. And it's beautiful to have other moms sharing that raw, vulnerable place of life is going to give you curveballs, and this is how you can keep going. This is how you can. I love how you say about the average 5 people, you become that average 5 people. And I
Mhm.
love how you take it to the next level. And is you are not only the average of the 5 people that you spend more time with, but the closest people to you need to be people that inspire you and that you admire to keep you in that pulling. Actually, you made me remember, I hear somebody saying a month ago or so, like, if you're in a room full of people and you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong place. And if you get to the point that you are the top person in the room, there is something that you need to review about your own goals and an opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
So as we get closing, with all your wisdom and experience as a child, with your childhood, and then going over everything that you did in life, if a mom to be, a pregnant mom or a new mom, are right now facing life changing situations like losing their partner, like infertility, how they can keep going, how they can find some of that grit and some of that strength that you are transpiring in every pore of your body.
So I would tell that mom, first of all, to never, ever look at other moms or women and compare themselves. Because what we do as women is we think everybody else has it figured out and that we are doing everything wrong because we see our darkest and greatest moments and we tend to focus on what we're not doing right. And we look at everyone else and we see only the picture they've painted of themselves. And we think they've got it all figured out, that Venus has it all figured out. I am quick to tell everyone I am so flawed and not perfect, but I just do my best every day. And when you stop comparing yourself to other people, then I think you give yourself a grace and a happiness comes to yourself. And I would tell them to guard their mind from negativity. Like on social media, I think I follow 40 people, and most of them are my kids. But you know, only follow people on social media that lift you up. I follow people that have, I'm a big Oprah fan, like everybody else in the world. But knowing that we're really all the same. One of the great things about coming from nothing into making millions of dollars is I'm still that same girl from the trailer park. I'm nobody different. Nobody's better than me, but I'm also not better than anyone. We're all the same. Oprah's no better than me, even though I love her. And I'm no better than, we're all the same. We might have different balances in our bank accounts, or we might have a nicer house, but really when it's our souls, we're all looking for that peace and that connection with other people. And being gentle on yourself, I think is the way to do that, and giving yourself the same grace you would see another mom that's struggling, and not expecting perfection. So
I love that. Venice, please share with the mamas, if we have mamas, if no, we are going to have mamas that resonate with your story, that resonate with your beautiful energy, that resonate with your belief and your approach of life. How these mamas can connect with you, how these mamas can learn
yeah.
more about you.
So they can follow me on my social media, Venus Morris Griffin. You just Google me. You can follow me on Instagram. I've got a Facebook page with the little, I don't know what the little check thing is. Make sure it's that, because somebody has one that's not a check. That's not me. And I'm on LinkedIn. So yeah, they can follow me there, and I'm pretty easy. You just Google me. So
Now, everybody, you can just Google or go into social media and look for Venus. I'm gonna make sure that I Venus Morris Griffin.
yeah,
And you are going to, as soon as you Google, you're going to see a picture of this beautiful blonde lady, and go and follow her, because let's make her one of those 5 people that you are surrounded of. If you follow her in social media, you're going to see her content, her inspiration, her way of doing life. And I love, Venice, that you took time from your business and your family to share with other mamas and be that beacon of light. Because what I feel in my heart is that at some way you are saying, okay, I had to learn all of these hard
mm-hmm.
things by myself, and now I want to help other moms to
Mm-hmm.
maybe learn a little bit from what I did and had it a little easier than me. So thank you for being one of those leaders in the front,
Yeah,
just challenging things like, we don't compare with each other, we don't tear other people down, we celebrate other mamas and other women's success like we're our own. So it was such a pleasure to have you in the show. Thank you so much for being here.
thanks for having me.
And I'm
So
looking
I have a book coming out. Margaret Riley King, who I don't know if y'all heard of Glennon Doyle. She's her agent. She's this amazing powerhouse in the literary world. So she has taken my book. William Morrison Dever is going to represent me. So I have a book coming out in the next year, and I've had some movie offers, believe it or not, from Warner Brothers, and which I've not agreed to do any of that yet. But once the book's released, I think I may give that some heavy consideration. But I think my story will give other women really so much hope, and to know that they're not alone, and that they don't need a man. A man is not, I mean, it's a good, I like men, it's a good thing, but you can be complete alone and you can get through anything with hard work and determination in God. So,
So everybody, please go and follow Venice. So when she do her pre-sale for her amazing book, you all go and pre-order her book. And let's gonna all support this beautiful mama to have a New York best selling status in her book the first week that she sent her book. And this show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out www.spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.